Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Kickin' Bass TV. Today we're up in Thornton doing a little fishing over at Lambertson Lakes, open space park. It's got 3 different bodies of water here, a lot of reed lines. We're gonna try to throw that swim jig some more, try to get into some bass, and we know there are a ton of carp up here, so probably a good chance we might get into a couple of carp as well. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so today's video was actually a suggestion from one of our subscribers. Lives near these lakes, told me he fishes here all the time, but he's yet to catch a bass out of either of the 3 bodies of water. They're listed as having largemouth bluegill and perch. I've only fished here once myself before, and that was last year, and all that I saw were carp, but we've got a lot of reed lines, so a lot of potential for bass. We're going to start off by throwing that swim jig along those reeds, see what we can get into. If we don't have any luck, at least try to find some bodies of water that are nearby that we can suggest for. Started off on the west end, one of the smaller ponds, just throwing that Divine swim jig from 6 cents, paired it up with one of our dead ringer swim baits, and I'm working it parallel to the bank, real tight to those reed lines. Now, if you've seen in the past, when it comes to early morning summer bass fishing, 9 times out of 10 my go-to is a swim jig if I've got vegetation like this. Sure enough, 2nd or 3rd cast out, and we've got what felt like about a 6 or 7 pound bass on the line. It immediately started running straight at me, surfaced about halfway back, and right here's where I saw that it was a carp. I still had to flip that big girl up about an 8-foot embankment. Luckily, we use these Daiwa rods, which is the only rod that I will fish with, because you guys know I like to horse my fish straight in and not waste any time with them. They've been reliable enough for us to catch hundreds of bass before without any issues. Handled this one just the same. About a 7-pound female, got her back in the water, spent about another hour fishing the main lake. Fortunately, did not see any bass while we were there, so we headed to another spot nearby where we've had some luck in the past, actually just a couple of blocks away from Lambertson Lakes. It's called Civic Center Park Lake. So if you're looking for another secondary location up there in that area, you're frustrated with your current spots, you're trying to get into some bass, we've done pretty well here in the past. Seems to have a pretty decent bass population overall, considering the fact that it's a relatively shallow body of water and it has a lot of heavy matted grass and vegetation. But it's a good spot to break out those punching setups like our new Jinja Ninjas, or throw things like this swim jig's always done really well here for us. We've actually caught a couple of 8 to 10 pound catfish out of here as well. So great spot, definitely worth checking out in that area if you're looking for some new locations, and I can guarantee you that this one definitely has some bass in it. After that, we actually stopped off Kendrick Lake on the way home, tied on this lipless crankbait that I ended up finding at Rocky Mountain Lake with my boy Jesse while we were up there fishing the other day. Found that stuck in the reed line, went over, pulled it out, said I'm gonna go out and catch a fish on this thing. Sure enough, ended up catching one a couple of minutes into using it, and I could tell right away that I probably had another carp here, but wishful thinking, fingers crossed. I was hoping it was just a monster bass because it was putting up a hell of a fight. As you can see, I'm pretty far out on that one too. Pretty much snagged that one around 100 feet away, so I had quite a fight to put up here, and the way that it was fighting, I could almost tell immediately, because I've done this before, that I had snagged that carp either in the dorsal fin or somewhere around up top where it had more full range of motion, because it was able to fight so hard, and it fought the entire time in. As you can see, it's just thrashing left and right, surfaces 3, 4, 5 times, really starts trying to get off right here in front of me. And once we got it in, ended up only being around 5.5 pounder, so a little bit smaller than the one we caught that morning. But because of the fact that it was hooked in the dorsal, like I said, it's got that full range of motion and just really puts up a lot more fight, and it feels a lot bigger than it actually is on the line once you bring it in. But decent sized carp, really no damage to the dorsal fin, luckily, after that much of a fight, which is good. But as you can see, this one had definitely been into some war before, because it had a huge scar across its back, which can sometimes be from damage that they cause to one another during their aggressive mating cycle. But the fact that this had been healing up for a while leads me to believe this one probably just crossed paths with the wrong group of bass during the bass spawn, came out on the losing end. So we tied on one of our red lipless crankbaits, one of my go-tos that you guys already know if you followed the channel long enough. Sure enough, we got hooked up right away. Now, trying to catch one more bass before we call it a day. Wasn't sure if I had a bass or a crappie on here because it was definitely lighter, but that's one of the benefits of throwing this in this type of water. It's such a producer of fish that we've caught everything from crappie to bass to bluegill to giant carp here, all throwing the same bait in the same exact spot. So ended up being a little first year bass, about a 1 pounder, but pretty fun multi-species day out on the lake. We got to check out some spots that one of our subscribers suggested, hopefully turn them on to a new spot. And if you guys enjoyed the video, you already know what to do. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Until next time, I'm D with Kickin' Bass TV.
Subscribe!